a little bit of crafting. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, coming to you on Thursday, May 29th. It's just a little after 11 p.m. for me, so I've got 11:11. And I'm just getting up my device so I can see if anybody joins me and hopefully watch comments. And I think I'm good to go. So, yesterday I forgot to do a little 30-second commercial or so. Stampin' Up! Announced this virtual album retreat where they will be doing a 12-page spread as a kit where everything's pre-cut and ready to go. Some of the pages are really cool. This is for memory keeping or scrapbooking for those of you that like to do that. And it's a month by month kit. So July 16th, 17th, and 18th. And it's going to run in the afternoon through evening for all 3 days. So basically they're going to be doing 4 2-page spreads each day so that they can get through all 12 of them. And here's the samples of what those pages are going to look like. The month is all in the same font and the same color, so you can switch them around depending on what page you might want to use, depending on where you're at and when the seasons and whatnot work for you. Hi, Colleen. So if you're interested in this, if you're in the United States, it's $250 US dollars. And I was kind of on the fence about it because that's pretty pricey. But when you look at the whole kit and all of the things you get, it does not include the album, but you do get Stampin' Rewards when you purchase it. So you could actually use your Stampin' Rewards toward the purchase of whatever album you like, because there's different ones. There's the ones that have the post in them where you can add pages, or there's like the 3-ring binder, I think. And I think those are like D rings on there. So it looks like a really cool event. And there's no additional cost for the retreat itself. So when you buy the kit through your Stampin' Up! Account or your demonstrator account, they use the email address you have on file, and they will send an invite for the private Facebook page. So when the event runs, you will have private access to that. They will be recording it. So if you miss one, and they'll record it by project apparently. So if you miss it, you can go back for that short time before Facebook deletes live videos. But you can watch individual projects. So if you missed project 3, you can go back and find project 3. With the recording, they're also going to upload it to YouTube. So that will happen in August. So you will also have the private link for that. But like I said, there's no additional fee for the retreat itself. But I think one of the big things is everything's going to be laid out. Pre-cut is my understanding. And all the parts and pieces you need except for like your adhesives and inks and that sort of thing. But there's papers that are exclusive to the kit. There are stamp sets, and my understanding is there are multiple stamp sets. So I bit the bullet, and I'm gonna give this a whirl. I'm not a scrapbooker by history, but I have done some scrapbooking, so I'm actually looking forward to this. And I got notification today. I ordered it yesterday, and it already shipped today. So they only have a limited number of kits for that. So if you're interested, you'll want to probably get your kit sooner rather than later, because once the kits are gone, my understanding is they won't produce anymore. So longer than 30 seconds. Sorry about that. But there's a lot to share for that. So tonight, excuse me, I'm going to work with this beautiful gallery 6x6 paper. And I showed this some time ago, and it's a lot of like gallery artwork. So lots of painting type scenes on here, and then the more neutral background pieces. I did some home decor items with a couple of these pages, like this one. I did a frame, making it look like an old-time photo, basically. So there's some cool things there. And on one of the sheets, there's basically, it's not black and white, but it's early espresso and basic beige, which is the back of one of the landscape pages. So I practiced just a few minutes ago doing just some coloring for this. So what I thought I would do, let me get this paper out of the way. If you want to see more of those pages, let me know and I can certainly pull them out of the package. I'm going to be using the sentiment, just this hello from the Everyday Arches. I pulled out my Everyday Arches dies and I did cut part of this piece because I thought at first that I would do like a card front layer, so 4 by 5 1/4 to go on a card base that's 4 1/4 by 5. But then as I was looking at this, I thought, well, maybe I'll try to cut out the arches and we'll see how that looks. We'll play with it. I'm going to do the hello on this, which is from the blooming, let me see. No, yes. From the Inspiring Imperfections dies. That's this piece here. Because I thought I had those dies handy and I thought, well, that's about the right size. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that and get that out of the way. And I did put a little bit of Versamark on this first because I had not used this stamp before. So the Versamark, because it's so slow drying, I find that the ink kind of sticks to it a little bit more. And it looks like I had something on my stamp, like maybe some lint or something. I think that should be good. I like the photopolymer stamps because then you can kind of see through whether you've got it all covered or not. So let's just give this a whirl. And I see one little speck there, but I don't think that'll matter a whole lot. And I usually just hold it on there for a few seconds. That'll be fine. And we'll get rid of this ink because that's the only thing I'm doing with that one. So then for my card base, I have a basic beige. So of course I made 2 bases. You know, my 8.5 by 11. I scored it 4 1/4 and then I cut it once so that I get my 2 bases out of one cut and one score instead of doing things twice. So we'll get rid of that. And I didn't put all my my dies from yesterday's project, or my stamps rather, because I think I'm going to play with that a little bit more. But anyway, so here's my base. And then I took this new mini corrugated 3D embossing folder and I took an early espresso piece because I thought that might look kind of cool with this so minimalistic. So I thought I could either do something like this and maybe put some baker's twine, some crumb cake baker's twine might look good on that. I'll leave that out. But I'm going to color this one and then we'll see if we want this sitting on here somehow. If I should cut this down and maybe have just a little panel on there, we'll figure it out. All right, so that's where we're going. I'm going to try to color this just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put this on dimensionals because we'll need that on dimensionals eventually. So that'll be ready to go. I just don't take the backings off yet because it will invariably stick to something that I'm working on. So to color this, I just took my alcohol blends and did a few of the pieces to kind of highlight them. All right, so with this piece, I figure I captured these 3 roses as full images basically. So I'm just gonna take my marker, my blend rather, and do a little coloring on here. And you could use a paintbrush end, or I'm using the bullet tip right now. It doesn't really matter. When I did this one, I used the paintbrush side. So with the blends, if you're not familiar with them, even the markers have two ends. So one is a paintbrush and one is a bullet. So the thin line is the bullet and the thicker line here is the paintbrush. So even if you can't make out what the tip is on there easily, you can at least see the thickness of that line. So I think I prefer the paintbrush end because that's what I usually use. So that's what I'm practiced on. Because to me it goes so much faster. And I never use the tip of my blends. I always use a side because I don't want to break the tips, because they will break if you're not careful. I've had them get broken in some of my classes, and it's frustrating because you have to buy them in 2 packs. You can't just buy a light or a dark. You have to get the pair of them. All right, so that's all I'm going to do there. I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight, I think. Yep, Daffodil Delight, and I'm doing the light one. And this one I'm going to go ahead and do the bullet tip. And I'm just going to do the centers of these in some yellow. And you can tell I wasn't real careful about that because I don't really, it doesn't have to be perfect. But then I'm going to take my blending brush with my strawberry slush, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color. And if I go a little outside the lines, I don't care. That's actually kind of the look I'm going for. Kind of nostalgic, I guess, like an old photo. And I don't want to cover up the Daffodil Delight that I put in the center, but I also didn't want to I didn't want to go ahead and do the strawberry slush and then try to put the yellow on after the Daffodil Delight, because I didn't know if that would really carry out the color very well. So I'm kind of avoiding where I've done the yellow. Okay, so that's all I'm going to color on there. Quick and easy. And what I could do is maybe even take the dark and go over the centers a little bit more. And then they're definitely there. But now this one, because it's an alcohol blends, it pushed a little more yellow further than I wanted it. So I'm probably going to end up ruining it. We'll just put a little dark in here. That was actually the light one. And I'm going to go get my color lifter. Which to me actually is just a color pusher. And we'll just try to lighten this up a little bit so that it blends in there a little bit more. We'll see if I ruined it. I can always make another one. But I think it'll be all right. I'll just push some of the color into there as well. And once it dries, I think it'll be just fine. All right, so now for our moment of truth-ish. So if I put this on here and cut this down to 5 1/4, or I could make it smaller. I kind of liked it going the whole length of the card. Let me get those out of the way. So I think I'll cut off less first because I can always cut off more later if I don't like it. So we'll start here and we'll do it 5 1/2. And I took off the end that didn't have any coloring on it yet. So if I put this on here and then this off to the side and our hello on there with some baker's twine. Let's see if we can get some out of there. And I cut holes in my bag so that I can just pull out the thread that I'm working with. And I probably don't need that much, but that's okay. We can just wrap some of this around here. And I'll play with that a little bit more. That might be a little much. I can always take some of it off so I don't have quite so many layers. And then we can put some gems on here too. And I have, I think, the Pretty in Pink and Strawberry Slush gems. Those might look really good. Yep, Strawberry Slush and Pretty in Pink. Oh, I thought I had this one opened. This one they got all messed up. I think I was playing with it or something. And I don't like fighting with the adhesive. So I will take a ruler and just slice open the package. And then I will put the adhesive back so that I can just slide these out the side. And since I'm left-handed, that's what I usually, the side I usually work on. So here is kind of one look at this. What do you think of that one? Hello, Rosa from California. Thanks for popping in. So there's that view. Or we could do something like this. Kind of like maybe we're looking out a window. What do you think? Or should I save this for a different card? What I could do is, you like, which one, Colleen? The one with the arch or the one with the straight rectangle? What I could do with this is cut another arch in the corrugated piece and lift it up kind of to make a frame. What do you think of that? Or we could, oh, I could do that and we could like paper piece with that. Let's try that once, just for kicks. Just for kicks, because this went really fast, so we'll play a little bit and see how it looks. The arch looks good. Okay, I'm kind of liking the arch too. So because this is a 3D embossing folder, I just need the plate, the base plate, that #1 plate, and the #4 plate. Oh, I take that back. I'm not embossing, I'm cutting. All right, let's go to the cutting platform sandwich. So I need 1 and 2, and then I need my 2 cutting plates. So let's just try to put this on here centered. I think that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to stair step my plates because they'll go through pretty easy that way. So basically when I mean stair step, I've got my platform with the shim, one of my cutting plates, because these are both beveled, I have set back a little bit, and then my top cutting plate I have set back a little bit more. And then the machine doesn't have to fight through so many layers. So let's just see how this looks when we put it all together. So let's pull this back. We'll pull this off. If we were to do this, and what I could do is raise this up on dimensionals or adhesive strips, or we could paper piece it so it's all kind of the same level. What do you think? And then we'll add the hello without covering too much. And then of course some gems. And then I can use this for another project. Okay. Or I should probably get another basic beige base. We could do something like that too. I don't know if I like that quite as much. Or we could put this on here. I don't think I like that quite as much with this strip. So I'm going to scrap that idea with the adhesive. So this one with the adhesive strips, I kind of like that one too. So let's give it a whirl. So let me get my snips. And we're just gonna snip a couple of rows here. That one didn't want to let go. It's up at the corner. We'll just snip a little bit off of here because I got it a little close to the edge. Okay, then we'll take our other one. And I do that a lot where I just snip through the paper. And actually I pulled this one off the wrong side. So let's just put this back. So I snip the paper to get my strip cut for the size I want it, because I'm not going to need that paper for anything. And then this one I can use and just kind of cut it in half for the top and the bottom. And I think that will be sufficient to hold that up. All right, Colleen, see you next time. Thanks for popping in. All right. So we'll put this here. Try to get it centered and flat. That looks pretty good. And then this one, we're just going to use some liquid multi-purpose glue. And that's, you can see where the alcohol marker went through. This was just kind of a landscape sheet from the beautiful gallery paper. Because Rosa, you came in late, I think, after I said what products I was using. So it's a beautiful gallery paper, 6x6 designer series paper, and then the mini corrugated folder, my everyday arches, and that's where the sentiment where I did the hello from. And then what else did I have? I guess maybe that's it. Okay. So then I think I'm going to take just a little bit of this twine off because it's a little bulky. And we'll do this again. So there's not quite so much. I'm going to put a little bit of seal on there to catch my twine, my baker's twine, because then I can just press it in the middle there. And I can work out the ends after I've put this on. So this, since I have dimensionals, I do not want to put it on the embossed piece because then I don't want it too thick to go through the mail well. So we can just put that there, and we'll spread out our baker's twine. Maybe, there we go. That didn't want to work for me. There, we can do something like that. And then we'll put some gems on here. And I'm going to take the ones that stuck to the inside of my package, maybe. If I can get them unstuck, that might want to work. The arches are really versatile. I have not used them as much as I should, but I'm going to remedy that because there's so much variety because there's so many different sizes. So I always use an odd number of gems. So I've got 3 on here, and I think what I might want to do is maybe put just a couple more up here. I can always take them off if we think it's too much, but I think that's actually all right. And then, what doesn't make every card a little bit better, but some Wink of Stella. I'll shake it up a little bit, and then what I do with my Wink of Stella for something like this is I kind of flick it, and you won't be able to see very well on camera, I imagine. But I flick some of the glimmer right on my card and let it dry. And I usually go at an angle, so from corner to corner on one side. So this one actually has Wink of Stella going through there. So it's showing on that early espresso, and it just kind of glams it up a little bit. So that's a card for tonight. I only planned one so that I wouldn't take too awful much time. And I will hopefully tomorrow work up another card with this piece maybe, and maybe I'll do another different corrugated piece, or I could cut this in half and do something with it. So I'll figure that out. I usually post these on my Facebook page as well. So new projects are going on there all the time, and that's it. So until next time, thank you so much, Rose. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like it. So until next time, good night or good morning, wherever you're at. Let's see. Rosa, you're in California, so it's what? Not quite 10 o'clock by you? I think we're 2 hours different. So enjoy the rest of your night. And until next time, happy crafting.